Everything was supposed to have been done today, but we had to pause and go on a kitten hunt, so trying to decide if I want to turn this into a little patio area or reclaim my patio and move the fish bins into there. But we got all the fish out. Got my blue eggs out in here somewhere. The other one's out in the tub down there. All this was supposed to have been cleaned up today. Supposed to have my patio back nice and clean, but instead we were ripping the wood pile apart and getting those kittens out. And if you're wondering why, it's because we have a feral cat problem in town here in my area, and if I let her raise her kittens, then they would just come back and have more kittens. So we're trying to kind of break up the cycle, we'll say, but I don't think I've even shown the Americanas. They're fairly well grown, but I am now wondering if that mama cat wasn't the one that took down two of these when they were smaller. If we can catch the mom, I just had to haul everything out of my little shed here, and we'll be fencing this in and turning that into just a place for this feral cats to raise until we can find them, get them fixed, and get them a barn home. Are you sassing me? Or are you just following me hoping for chicken feed? I'm gonna get back here and fix their water, but this is 5 female lavender Orpingtons and 1 male. So I have way too many chickens. I have 16 grown ones down here and a duck. But it stresses me out that my yard is still a disaster, and it was supposed to get taken care of today, and it just goes to show no matter how much you plan, things just never go as planned. So this paint pile was supposed to be cleaned up. But I gotta get out here and water this side. Ouch. Just kicked a tomato cage, that's great. I think this thing is getting more sun than that one, because that one's awful puny compared to this one. But these are starting to branch through into the tomatoes. I don't know if that's going to become concerning later. I didn't fertilize these with some fish water, some fish emulsion, but I do have to brew some worm tea. I do have some already green tomatoes on these. I need to get one more row wired, and then it's amazing to me how big suckers get on tomatoes versus the main stem they came off of. Holy cow, do suckers get way thicker and bigger. So I have to do more weeding, but these are just the little tiny plugs that I plugged in from those peat pellets that I didn't think were even going to live. They were just little sprigs. And yeah, I gotta get them fenced, gotta get the rest of this weeded, gotta get Ducky some lettuce. But yeah, I've seen plenty of blossoms already. I'm just amazed at how big my tomatoes are already. I mean, in years past, because I never planted till after June, they would have just gone in to the ground like 2 weeks ago. And yeah, got blossoms all over the place. This sun gold I have to tie up here already has little baby tomatoes. I'm wondering if I push these back through, if I'm just gentle and push these back through, if they will grab a hold. It's already wound around down there, so I'm going to have to come through with, I think, some of my bungee cord to bungee it back up. So, I wish I knew what this was. Then down here, oh, it's so much nicer when it's cooler. Our beans and carrots are doing well on this end. Our zucchini are drowning out the beans on this trellis, which has led me to an observation that zucchini do not shock as easily as, say, cucumbers and things, because they are loads ahead of the zucchini that I planted, whereas in the cucumbers, the ones I have planted have already almost overtaken the ones that I pre-started. So my eggplants don't seem to be growing. My kohlrabi, that looks really good. I don't know if I even have stuff under there. And back behind this pile that I have to get in and start going through, my radishes are my, I think it's silver slicers, Queen Anne silver slicers from Hudson. I did a seed trade and got 5 of them, planted them, and 3 sprouted. And I'm very excited about those. But I definitely need to get in here and start harvesting and thinning this cabbage. I also need to get back here and weed. I also must have at some point planted something in here and didn't remember doing it and put mint in here, so I have something I don't even know what it is growing with my mint. And these are melons that I plugged in from starts. We'll see if those grow. Back here I have some Swiss chard in with a ton of weeds that I gotta go through, and some more cucumbers. My cosmos have been flowering, but they certainly are not standing up very well. So this was all supposed to be mulched today. This was my plan, to get in here and mulch the heck out of everything with weeds and weed everything, and instead we were going through this massive wood pile at the end of our property here that is 30 years of bits of wood and stuff my father collected when they had this property. So we're gonna have to do that another day. I did move all the peppers down here. And I did at least get some grass hay or alfalfa hay over all of my potatoes, and I did get this bed mulched. So that's as far as I got before I realized that we had a kitten problem. So this is the back end of our property. That's my neglected cauliflower, broccoli, and cabbage that probably won't make it this year. And I'm just going to have to build that into a greenhouse. This is all a learning experience this year. So this is the end of our straw bed. And then we actually own back into the woods back there some. And then this is where the tree fell and crumpled our chicken run, which we're going to be fixing. And we have actually cleared some down to the back of our property down here, and we're using logs to hold down the chicken fence so nothing can dig under it. And we've run a whole new several hundred feet of fencing around this whole back wooded area. And this is the back edge of our property. Goes back into a swamp back there, so no one will ever build behind us. And we have about another 100 feet of fencing along here. And we need to clean up and finish. When we're done, the run will tie up to where the Americanas are, and we'll be taking all the extra wood from our property and building that into a shed, or I mean a new coop. So yeah, well, we have more to clean up back in here before we can do that. So yeah. This is what we've been doing with all the scrap wood from that pile. Just, I know this is like probably hundreds of dollars worth, but it's all bits and pieces that we're using to mush down like a foot of fencing so nothing can dig underneath this. So yeah, our property goes a good probably 50 more feet that way, I think. Dang flies. So I'm really sad I didn't get this mulched in. Looking at the size of the watermelon, I say that stuff shocks and is then slow to grow. But looking at how the zucchini is, I don't think zucchini shocks. I mean, as I said, I plugged this stuff in just from pellets. That sat too long. Thought for sure it wasn't going to grow. And it is way bigger than the stuff I started from seed. So there's my potatoes peeking out. But we have a live trap set up there to try and catch that mama cat with some sardines. So wish me luck there.